The smart #1 reinvents the smart brand for a new era. A compact, full electric hatch for style-conscious folk who will enjoy a rather unique Sino-Teutonic blend of EV engineering. The car retains the smart spirit, but offers it in a car family fashionistas could realistically justify, with space for 5 and a range of up to 273 miles.
So, a very different kind of smart. Big battery, 66 kilowatt hours, big power output, 267 horsepower for this mainstream model, and big curb weight, getting on for nearly 2 tonnes. Previous smart folk will recognise none of it, but that's because this car isn't aimed at traditional smart customers. Those who choose this #1 will want it to be able to function as an only car, even if ultimately it remains a second or third vehicle family acquisition. Hence the credible drive range figure, 273 miles in this mainstream premium spec model, and supple suspension that's rarely troubled by poorer urban surfaces. Unlike its predecessors, this Smart is comfortable way beyond the city limits too, where you'll discover impressive levels of refinement. There are the expected 3 driving modes, Eco, Comfort and Sport, which primarily affect steering weight and throttle response. Regenerative braking strength is apparently influenced too, though there are 3 further drive settings to individually affect that: Standard, Strong and E-pedal, the latter allowing for fashionable one-pedal driving, where you hardly ever have to use the actual brake pedal once you come off the accelerator. But is it fun to drive, perhaps as a Smart should be? Well, not really. There's not really enough steering feel for that, or traction from the eco-focused rubber that fills the black-clad arches. But slow-speed, twisty point-and-squirt driving can be quite engaging if you're in the right mood and don't mind decimating your EV range, which incidentally falls to 260 miles in the base Pro Plus model. If you do want to hoon about in a #1, then the variant you'll be directed to is the top Brabus version, which gets an extra motor added over the front wheels to create the usual EV dual motor all-wheel drive system, as part of which the power output leaps up to 428 horsepower. What about charging? Well, the 150 kilowatt charging speed looks good. It's class leading, in fact, which allows for a 10 to 80% DC supercharging time of just 30 minutes. The 66 kilowatt hour battery, only 62 kilowatts of which is usable, takes just 3 hours to replenish itself from 10 to 80% from an AC supply, but that's only when a 22 kilowatt AC charge power system is fitted. It isn't with base Pro Plus trim, which makes do with a feeble 7.4 kilowatt AC charge system and consequently takes 7.5 hours to AC charge from 10 to 80%. Full battery replenishment, by the way, takes a lot longer. A 7.4 kilowatt garage wall box needs 12 hours, 45 minutes to completely charge the battery from empty to full. The quick summary here is that everything you can see comes from Mercedes in terms of look and style, and just about everything you can't comes from Chinese conglomerate Geely, primarily the SEA or Sustainable Experience Architecture platform this car rides upon. Here, our focus is on the tactile stuff, which Mercedes-Benz chief engineer Gordon Wagner describes as cool, fresh and enchanting. You decide. Take a seat behind the wheel and a minimalistic but impractically coloured white finished dash wraps itself around you. There's no start button, the car simply senses your arrival. And less surprisingly, given that this is a Mercedes design, no centre console drive controller either. Gear selection duties conducted by the Stuttgart brand's usual slim right-hand stalk. Buttons are largely banished, and instead of an instrument binnacle, you view a narrow letterbox-shaped 9.2-inch HD digital instrument screen through the jaunty 3-spoke Smart branded wheel. That's complemented by a very advanced 12.8-inch central monitor with a 3D interface, over-the-air updates, and even an animated fox that pops up above menus and boxes. Aside from screens you'll not want for equipment, all versions get this so-called Halo panoramic glass sunroof which comes with a powered sunshade blind. And all you have to do is to avoid base trim to get smart, man-made, duo leather upholstery, plus niceties like a 10-inch head-up display, 64 colour ambient lighting, and a 13-speaker 640-watt Beats sound system. There's plenty of cabin storage space too, with lidded compartments along the top of this centre console, and a huge stowage area beneath large enough for a shopping carrier or a large handbag. So, what do we have here? The first new model from Smart since 2014. Well, a rather unusual confection to be sure, as you might expect from a rather unusual brand. We'd hoped the #1 might have been a bit more fun to drive, and we certainly thought that a marque synonymous with affordable, no-frills urban transport might have come up with a car priced more accessibly. But the company spent decades trying to make money doing that and failed. So this, instead, is its new direction, which might just work if enough people can be persuaded to try one of these. They'll like the supple ride, the excellent refinement, the very complete suite of drive assistance features, and the excellent after-sales package, all of which this car will need in its increasingly crowded segment. In its favour is that it's certainly different and potentially very individual. In that sense, the #1 very much retains the smart spirit, as does the funky cabin. But does all that justify the asking price attached here? It's way above anything brand loyalists have had to find in the past. But then this is a very different kind of car, catering for the completely different kind of audience this reinvented car maker's now seeking. The Smart brand has grown up. #about time.